Testing, testing. All right. So through my journey, I've come full circle, and I'm back to having ranges as a way in which to measure out exactly where it is likely for price to stop. So I know the range that I use. So negative 100, negative 200, negative 400. So you'll see, for instance, this is the range that was broken through this gap. And using that as a reference, you'll be able to find places where price might likely continue to go. So that gap there was hit. The 100, I guess, price level was hit with this range, and then we got the 200 price level that was hit with this moving range here. The idea is to use the most recent price range break in the opposite direction. I know this sort of stuff, but just so we're clear. So you got to find the high and the low, and you got to see where it wants to go. It didn't quite get all the way to the 400 as an example, but there's like a little bit more there. Yeah. But look at the fact that it kind of lines up perfectly with this 200 just there. So price hits that. You want to make sure that it stays within the the range it's just created in order for it to continue to go down. But we start to notice that there's some resistance, and it creates a bullish range in the opposite direction. So looking at this, so there, I'm not to clutter my page, but you see it gets to the 50 or the 61, pushes back down, hits the 61. So I'll call it the 61 to 61. But we're looking for a break of a down pushing range. The most clearest down bearish range is this one here. So we're just conscious of that, watching what happens, watching what happens. There's a gap up, watching what happens. And then the complete close and take happens, let's say on this candle here. And then price creates a new bullish range, which looks a little bit like this. And price comes basically down to the higher time frame 78. This is the new bearish range that you'd want price to collapse in order for it to continue to go up. But if you're feeling, I guess, adventurous, you could have taken that for a buy, and it pushed up. It takes this bearish range out on this candle here. You could have entered, but then you got to be conscious of where it could potentially stop. So in order to do that, you could use the range that's just engulfed, which lines up perfectly with a higher time frame 78. So there isn't much more room for this thing to move up. So you could have just taken a very small position to get in there. Ideally, though, the break of this would have been an indication to get into a position like this, for it to continue up. It gets to the 78. Now you see that price has a hard time going above the 78. Now we're looking for a set of bullish candles for it to break below. This isn't a complete break. These downset candles do not close behind entirely. On any other time frame, that would be a wick, so that doesn't count. You want a complete break. So we have these upside candles, and don't worry about the wick so much. It's the body that you want to take, and it takes it here. This whole body, this large black candle takes all of that out. So you could sell this, use this range. You'd want to get out at the 100. Price makes its way down to the 100. Now we find some resistance, which coincides with this higher time frame bullish 78. We're just bouncing around. We just want to see, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to take out the downside bearish candles or the upside bullish candles? Like, so the ones that are going down, you want to up move. The ones going up, you want to down move. So what we end up getting is an up move taking out this range high. So we use that range to see exactly where price might potentially go. There's a 100 up here. Price makes its way up and behind it as such. And then we look back to see if there are any ranges that are within that. This is where it would get a little tricky. There aren't any, but what do we have is a break below and a close behind all those bodies on this candle here. You could potentially look to sell that. Take the range. Check the 100. It gets there. price moves up but fails to go up any higher. The next candle is the body confirmation closing behind these up pushing candles. You could take the next sell, use that as a range. Look to see where it wants to get out. The 100 smashes a 100, the 200 starts to find some friction around that area. So if you were so inclined, you would look to try and buy that, but you would have got taken out, and then price eventually, off the back of that massive close and disrespect of the 200, get all the way down to the 400 point. And then what happens as a result? Price moves back up. We don't have a take because this is the entire range that needs to be taken. So what price will do was create smaller ranges to justify a case to go back up. So we have price making a new set of down range just here. We take that as a range to see it go up. We take this bullish range moving up to see what price is doing. It's respecting the higher time frame. You could even argue that this up set of candles, this close behind it, you could get just the smallest of measurements to see where it wants to stop. Somewhere around that 100, doesn't quite get there, but that's just one way you could have potentially looked at it. And what eventually happens is we have this set of down candles gets taken out here, a body close behind. You can take that as a buy. We have this set of put down push candles here, and if we take the range and the respect of the 78, that I kind of do see, it kind of gets to the 78 and pushes back up. We take out this next set of down candles here. It's kind of tricky. We don't want to just accept one candle as the close, but let's have a look just to see what's going on. One, two. So it got to the one. You could take a position out there, and it doesn't actually coincide to anything. You could argue that, or you could look to argue this. It's clearer, it's bigger. The 100 gets hit. There's some friction there. It's taken out here. You take that range, pushes up, clears that 100 right behind it. Price sits behind it, shoots back up, keeps going. New range, hits to the 100, breaks above it. In terms of a close, there's some closes that fall short of it. So there's some resistance. It's a bit of a long video, but I get the idea.